What's your number one hack for the holiday season?
Everybody listening right now is quant, conversions.
This time of year, get it out.
This is your version of Breaking Bad.
Yes, we're focused in the millennial demographic.
The very next thing you should think about is that
you can't forget about SEO.
The trick is the relationship with the carriers, right?
I'm Mac.
I'm Sabir. And this is Hacking the Holidays.
Hacking the Holidays podcast miniseries is produced and brought to you by VaynerMedia and Shopify Plus to help you hack the holidays. Visit us on the web at VaynerMedia.com/e-commerce. In this episode, Gary Vee crushes it with his jab, 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 right hook. Let's ask Gary Vee about e-commerce holiday hacks. Gary Vaynerchuk is a serial entrepreneur and the CEO and co-founder of VaynerMedia, a full-service digital agency servicing Fortune 500 clients across the company's 4 locations. Gary appears with Gwyneth Paltrow, Jessica Alba, will.i.am on Apple's first original series, Planet of the Apps, out now. Gary rose to prominence in the late 90s after establishing one of the first e-commerce wine sites, WineLibrary.com, helping his father grow the business from $4 million to $60 million in sales. Gary is also one of the most sought-after public speakers alive today. He's a venture capitalist, 4-time New York Times best-selling author, and an early investor in companies such as Twitter, Tumblr, Venmo, and Uber. Gary has been named to both Crain's and Fortune's 40 Under 40 list. Welcome to Hacking the Holidays, Gary Vee.
Thank you, Sabir.
Gary, I'm excited. I'm going to jump in here quickly. You just launched a big sneaker brand, I think at midnight last night. Tell us a little bit about this experience and what it's meant to you.
Kswiss.com crumbled under the pressure, and they should use Shopify. And I actually mean that, not because I'm with you guys. Literally, if you went in my phone right now, that is what I was texting the team. It's been the best, man. This is such a fun experience. I like win-win situations. When I was listening to Sabir, the book, my investments, my career is win-win. Planet of the Apps. If it works, right, I'm a household name. If it doesn't work, when Apple figures out its shit, I will always say that I was on Apple's first original show. It was win-win.
Okay.
This sneaker was win-win. If it rocked like it looks like it's about to, well, fuck. I'm the first entrepreneur to have a sneaker that matters in culture. Other entrepreneurs are going to get sneakers, and it's a legacy that could get really interesting, especially if you think about footwear in corporate environments. You start thinking about 4, 7, 9 years from now. If it lost, it was such ridiculous ammo for my best friends to make fun of me that I thought I could actually pull off a sneaker. And what the fuck were you thinking? So I'm a big win-win guy. It's why I tend to be happy. I don't do things that have disproportionate downside. I also don't do a lot of things that have disproportionate upside, which is why I'm a tortoise. Even though I wear a hare's costume, my energy seems short-term. My strategy and execution is about as long-term as it gets out there, and I like that. And so, look, I was a guy who got into e-commerce in 1996. Here we are doing an e-commerce. It's 21 years ago. Yep. So this has been pattern recognition for me. I understand trends and things of that nature. I think that shoe culture, sneaker culture, is so mainstream that it's about to, what's about to happen to sneakers? All the sneakerheads, it's already happened, are mad because it's your favorite band that blew up. The sneaker thing, the ship has sailed. Everybody is going to wear sneakers, especially in the male demo, from 1 to 99, and a lot of them. And I'm excited to be a part of it, make my little mark on it. I will tell you why I did it. It took me a little while to get there. It's really hit me. It really hit me. I mean, I did it for a million reasons. I want to reboot nostalgic brands one day. This was a great test case because K-Swiss is a nostalgic brand. I loved the autonomy I had. I wanted to market in a different way to see what would happen. I thought I could be underestimated. I was. Most people didn't think this would be a successful launch.
The node crash, the website.
The websites have crashed. Everything is sold out. They're selling for $200 a pair on eBay already from $85. It's a win. The district manager of the shoe store I went to today that had 300 people show up, 400 people, and sell 290 pairs of sneakers, last night sent an email and said, will anybody show up? I'm worried. So it was a lot of fun for me in a lot of ways. But ultimately, here's the best part. Already, because some people got them at Complex Con, already, I've had 2 people email me and tell me that they had a hard day yesterday and the day before. They legitimately forgot they were wearing my sneakers, legitimately were walking to the bathroom. The other guy was just sitting at his desk, looked at the sneakers, said, Gary Vee would say, go fuck that bullshit and go fucking go. And literally by having the pair of sneakers on, got a burst of like inspiration or refocus or reallocation of perspective. I'm so fired up about this because I got thousands of emails through the years about my book being on a shelf and them saying, well, Gary, to be an inspiration to somebody, not for the sake of inspiration and bullshit, but for the sake of action. You have to understand what's different about I'm not The Secret. I'm not inspiration that's like, if you wish it, it will come. My inspiration comes in the form of like, screw your excuses, like put in the work, eat shit, that's good. Like, oh, your website launched and you didn't sell as many sweaters on your Shopify? You suck.
Yeah, what did you do?
That's right, you suck. The market told you suck. Now go fix it. Not, I knew it. Nobody gets the fresh, fat style that I've come up with. I'm too ahead of the game. No, you're not, Dick. You suck.
You didn't tell your story. Yeah.
Like seriously, I love when people are like, oh, my style is too eclectic. They didn't get it. No. You didn't do the right thing. Mm-hmm. You didn't do your eclectic album release or beanie business or Christmas sweater company with a twist with, I'm going to market Christmas sweaters to Jews. You didn't do that for it not to be successful. You did it to hack, to win, to do something different. It didn't work. Now you're blaming the market. I never blame the market.
So
that's why I love e-commerce, by the way.
Yeah.
It's black and white.
You can try things out.
It's black and white.
It
This
works
is not
or it doesn't work.
That's right.
That's it.
I
Simple.
fucking love retail.
Yeah. How did you know? How did you take a calculated risk? Like, I mean, so people listening to this podcast are enterprise e-commerce merchants, those selling online, what is it, Shopify Plus, Magento, who knows?
I could afford to lose. I was willing to waste my time, which is valuable. So for everybody listening, I didn't buy inventory of K-Swiss, but I was willing to waste my time, which is very valuable. I get paid $150,000 to give a speech. I'm running a $200 million holding company. Like, I wasted my time on the risk that it would work, because if it didn't, it was a worthwhile risk for the jokes, but more importantly for the learnings. Too many retailers listening right now are so quant. Everybody listening right now is quant. Conversions, lifetime value, CAC. You guys are math kids. You're not going to win the big game. You're going to win the medium game. And by the way, selling $3.7 million a year of something and making, $1 million in profit, you've made it. That being said, that's not interesting to me. I'm trying to win the whole thing. And the whole thing is a hell of a lot more risky, a hell of a lot more intuition, a hell of a lot more test and learn, and a hell of a lot more, listen, I grew up in a wine business because of the laws of the liquor industry. There was no spec.
Very restrictive.
There was no spec. I bought shit and then had to sell it. Yeah. No Kickstarter. You're a real fucking champion. You Kickstarter. You took no risk.
And that's the beautiful thing about e-commerce.
In the early days, there were no Google.
That's right.
There was no Google. There was no Facebook.
I launched WineLibrary.com with no Google in the world.
Yeah.
With no Facebook in the world.
Yep.
It was direct mail and a little Yahoo and really other people's email services and banner ads.
Or if you were willing to give $1 million to AOL.
Yeah, I didn't have that. Was my company.
That was the other part of the strategy.
$3.7 million, 10%, 300. We made $370,000 a year in profit before expenses.
So you didn't have $1 million to spend.
Yeah, I mean, I laughed when my dad visited today. It was my birthday. When I know that there are employees that he met today that make more money at VaynerMedia in their yearly salary than the company made in profit when I started running Wine Library, we've come a long way.
If you were to give someone advice, so it's a week before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday season's approaching, they haven't prepared yet.
Too much noise in the system, way too much noise.
What's a tip for someone with a product brand that's going online to how to win the holiday season?
Instagram DM. I would go on Instagram right now and for the 7 days in a row get blocked by Instagram once you hit your limit of how many people you can DM. I don't know what the algorithm is, if there's a standard or if you have a certain number of followers. I would DM media and influencers. I would DM, so if you're in Kansas City and you're selling a candle, I would DM the 11 local media stations on Instagram. I would DM them and say, I'm doing this rad thing. Make up something. You gotta be a little bit Barnum and Bailey when you're little. right?
Yeah.
I'm giving you a quick hack. If you haven't been, and I'm answering you specifically, you said they haven't prepared. This is not my answer for people that have prepared. Now, for the
It's
people
1 week away.
That's right. It's a week away. You haven't prepared. Now you have to be in the showman business. Now you have to be in the sizzle business. I would DM 7 people on all the media, WKK4, Kansas City 4, right? W999, Missouri 7, right? Like I would hit up the 7 media companies, the Missouri Sun, right? The Kansas City Star, and I would DM them on Instagram because people are looking there, not on email, not on phone call messages, right? Not on letters, but DM. I would DM their account, right? And I would say, hey, I'm in Kansas City and I'm doing a crazy thing on Black Friday. I sell candles and the whole time I'm gonna be outside my house juggling candles, or I'm gonna light 1,000,000 candles, or you do you. Something that would make them say, that's interesting, we're gonna come and cover you.
Yeah.
You need to hack attention.
It's the digital version of handing out papers on a street corner.
That's all I am, man. I'm just a ghetto kid that would have sold his tapes from the back of his trunk. By the way, let's go back to Wine Library. It's so funny because my dad was here today. One of the first things I ever did for Wine Library, because we had no marketing budget, was print a 22%, because 15% discount was the big discount for a case of wine. I created 20% at Wine Library because I didn't need to make money because I was willing to eat shit for a decade. So I tried to kill the market a little bit. I created a 22% coupon occasionally, where I took that coupon and I printed 100 pieces of paper in a home computer, and the next day went to the Short Hills Mall and from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. put it on people's windshield wipers. Straight ghetto listen, for everybody listening, when you don't have the money, right? I love when people hear me on a podcast like this and they're like, oh, easy for you to say, you're Gary Vee. Yes, after 20 fucking plus years of doing everything right.
Overnight success.
Right. And so when I wasn't Gary Vee and I was Gary Vaynerchuk, when I was Sasha's son, because that's who I was.
Yep.
When I was Sasha's son in that first year, I was ghetto. I didn't have money. So I printed 100 pieces of paper that said 22% off at Wine Library, a couple miles away from Short Hills Mall, and I put it in people's window sills, and it worked.
There are so many companies I've come across.
Because I apologize real quick, because I just want to get this point across, because I want to bring value. Listen, I'm doing this. Obviously, I want you to win. I want you guys to win. You can't be fancy when you don't have anything. Like this is where you have to hack. Like if you have to knock on the door, like everybody listening is looking for digital arbitrage.
Yeah.
They're looking for landing page optimization. They're looking for Google ads. They're looking at Facebook ads, content, partnerships. Like real world hacking is a part of this too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you don't have money, like what by the way, a lot of the digital stuff becomes a money game. Facebook's a money game now. If you better get serious about Instagram, because 35-40% organic reach is still meaningful. Because when it's 10%, it's not going to be.
On the subject of social commerce, what do you think, like if a brand is trying to sell directly to consumers, who's winning the social commerce game? How can they manage to sell items directly on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn? Like, what do you think is coming as the number one approach right now?
Look, I think at this point, nobody's got true shopping cart integration that is meaningful enough to get really excited. I think Instagram's got disproportionate attention, and so you've got swipe up capabilities, you've got Micmac integration. I'm not sure what you guys have, but nobody smart as Shopify is gonna. You'll build to some sort of API calibration in those worlds. I think that everybody needs to be on those platforms to siphon the attention. From a utility standpoint, I still think it's swipe up on Snapchat and Instagram, and I still think or on Instagram it's link is in the URL verbiage, or on obviously Facebook it's a direct link. I think 36 months from now, all the commerce, the enormity of the commerce that's going to be happening inside of Facebook and Instagram and whoever the current social networks are, whether that's Twitter or Snapchat, is going to be far more significant than I think people think. And it'll be interesting to see how Shopify at a macro, Magento and others play with that.
There's a beta right now with Shopify that allows selling directly through Instagram. So it just came out, under 100 merchants in the United States.
Right.
But soon.
So Micmac has a similar thing in stories. Is yours through stories?
No, it's through the actual.
Yeah, it's going to work. It's going to work. Who's going to win? Whoever has the attention. Google and Facebook have the attention. You can't sell shit if nobody knows about it. Listen, that might be the most important part of this podcast for some of the people listening. Like, before you worry about anything else, you got to understand where people's eyes are. Why do you think influencers matter so much? People are paying attention. Like, who are you stopping for? A human or a Facebook ad? You're stopping for a human so much more in your feed. The psychology of that dynamic. So, who's winning the platforms? Because whether it's Shopify, Magento, Micmac, or Schmicmac, or WordPress, or anybody else, you're all building on top of Facebook and Instagram.
Sure.
Yep. That's where the audience is right now. Yeah.
Well, I've got one more question amongst like your brand specifically. I want to hear more about your
Please.
shoes, your sneakers.
Sure, anything.
You've built, you've sold out of your sneakers already. You've built what many people who in our network who are Shopify Plus users are trying to do with $1 million plus business online. How do you go from there to the next level? So you've talked a little bit about hacking and getting through and being chirpy, but
so are you saying how does somebody who's
million?
and as a retailer of a product, or as somebody who wants to arbitrage a personal brand in association with their product?
As a retailer of a product. So yeah, more on the product side.
They're at 1 million. They want to go to 10.
You have to buy underpriced attention. My whole life is that. I've got one move. I'm like so funny. I laugh. I'm a one-trick pony. I am obsessed about people's attention and where is it overpriced and where is it underpriced. If you sell something if you sell something to somebody who's under 30 and you're not spending 50% of your working media dollars on Instagram and Snapchat, which has under $3 CPMs, and people are actually consuming the content, you're making a mistake. And I know a lot of you are selling for products that are under 30 and you're spending all of your money on Facebook and Google, and Facebook proper and Google. Mm-hmm. And I just told you should spend 50% of your money on Instagram and Snapchat. That to me are the interesting things. How do you go from how do you go from 1 million to 100 million? Yep. By being right. What what am I talking about when it comes to being right? What's underpriced? What's overpriced? What's the right partnership? Who's the right endorsers? What's the right platform to spend your money on? What's the right product? What are the cultural trends that you can leverage? Were you right about slime emerging? Did you know pomegranate juice was going to happen 10 years ago? Did you understand what's happening in Atlanta hip hop? Do you understand why Vans worked? Why LaCroix worked? Why Champion's working right now? Everything I just mentioned is buying underpriced attention, mainly in Instagram and Snapchat. Like, is anybody paying attention? Am I legitimately this smart? Like, is it that easy for me to understand why everybody's wearing a Champion hoodie? Like, really? Because I really don't feel like it's that smart. I'm being dead serious right now. I'm not doing like a weird self-deprecating kind of funny, like weird reverse move. I'm struggling to understand why this is so easy to me when I know it's not so complicated. Am I literally just in a place where I'm completely unemotional about anything that happened yesterday and I'm willing to put in the work to figure out what's happening today? And I think it's that. It's a humility card that I'm way more humble at hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth than every single person listening to this podcast right now at dick worth. And I'm being dead serious with you guys right now. And again, I'm not trying to flash and be like a wrestler or a rapper. I'm trying to make you understand it takes the humility to do the work. I spent a 15-hour flight from Dubai to New York reading DMs. That's more DM reading than 99% of the people that have brands right now listening to this, and I've got way less time.
So some brand should have reached out to you on DMs to promote their product. That's what you're saying.
They do it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They do it all the time. I don't do it because I've never done a brand deal. I've never done an ad. If I'm going to do something, it's going to look like this.
You just
right?
like the product.
Yeah, and I like if my favorite toothpaste reached out to me and said, we want to make a Gary Vee flavor profile toothpaste, even though that sounds ludicrous right now, that at least is more interesting than somebody saying, we're going to pay you $40,000. I got a $180,000 post offer, which is absurd. Until I understood the dynamics of that business and how valuable the customers were, made more sense. Then I sat there for about an hour and said, oh my God, from 25 to 31, in 6 years, I'm going to make more money in this one post than I made in 3.5 years. Actually, I'm sorry, in 3.5 years of my career. So I laughed for a little bit, but then I said no. And I said no, A, because I can afford to say no, but B, because it would have been ridiculous. So the reason I don't do, but here's the funny part.
It's overpriced.
No, for me, it's just would have ruined my brand if I do an ad. My brand is everything, right? But yes, people should be DMing every single person who wants to reach any other person on earth. Pamela, who's an idol of yours in the world? Random. Bezos. Great. You should DM Jeff Bezos. everybody, can you guys do me a favor? Can this room do me a favor? Because I'm not going to trust anybody listening to podcasts. Can you guys do me a favor? Right, I'm being serious. Justin, I'm being serious. For fun, as a birthday present to me, can you please DM 15 people? Try to bring them value or say something interesting, not like give me an autograph.
I'm going to DM Barack Obama after this,
Good.
I think. Yeah.
Good. But like what's crazy is when you get to number 11 through 15, which are still the 15 people you most want to talk to, they're not going to look like Barack Obama as much. And one of them's going to say, what's up?
That happens to me regularly on Twitter. You've seen that.
Of course.
Regularly they have conversations on Twitter with me, and I say, I'm available. Come and ask me any question. There are 2 people who would reach out. I'm asking them, and they reach out, only 2 people.
Yeah.
Compared to like thousands of people that should be reaching out and asking thousands of questions.
That's right.
So going back to the earlier comment.
Did Sabir just compare himself to Barack Obama?
No.
Because that was the best. Because that I thought was the best part
I
of this
did not win
podcast.
him the elections. I did
He
not.
has as much knowledge at least, so that's all right.
Going back to your earlier point, do you think it's complacency by brands, or is it their ego to not test these like Snapchat and other platforms?
It's that their partners are not financially incentivized to give them the proper advice. Why would anybody who's a development shop of e-commerce tell people to use Shopify Plus? Because it's such a ridiculously phenomenal product that you don't have to charge your client as much man hours to get it up and running properly. So they'd rather recommend some legacy software that costs the client 4x because it's 2 times in fee and 2 times in the horseshit SaaS product
Take
that it
9
is.
months to develop.
You know what we do.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Everybody listening, you know why VaynerMedia won? We give the right advice. We make less money every day so that we make lots more money every decade.
Yeah.
That's the Shopify mantra as well.
Yep.
I walk around this office here. I was telling Sabir earlier, it's amazing how culturally similar this is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You
It's
guys
the
must have
exact
an
same.
amazing place.
He invited us to
Toronto?
Ottawa.
Ottawa,
by.
that's right.
It's 2017.
Yes.
You're an e-commerce business.
Yes.
I know we mentioned someone who's already started who can't. What would you say is a trend for the budding entrepreneur who wants to get into
Cricket protein.
Cricket protein.
I'm just going on a random one here.
Okay.
Because I want to be historically correct and I know I haven't put it out in the universe yet. I'm a buyer of Cricket protein. You're into it?
No, into complete food supplements.
Got it.
Powders and stuff. So.
Cricket protein. Just remember I said it.
Okay.
It's going to be a real trend in 3 years. Meditation. Do you guys know Tap Out, the gear for UFC?
John Cena wears a lot of that, yeah.
I think somebody who's listening right now should become the clothing brand of the emerging meditation space. I think you can build a huge business, consumer, hats, t-shirts, socks. If you want to go headband because it's the head, you do you. You be clever and creative. Meditation. But I'm just going on a tangent. What were we going to actually ask?
No, that was it. I mean,
Trends?
Like trends for e-commerce.
Slime.
But also how? Like, how to get to $1 million? How do you get to where you got to with your shoes? Was it just because of your
Well,
star
that was
power?
different. Yeah, that was different. How would I get to $1 million knowing what I know?
You're not Gary Vee.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would use Google Trends and Amazon rankings and I would read them. I would look at hashtags on Instagram. It would give me consumer insight and I'd probably stumble on something people are buying more of than any of us actually realize. Cricket protein. And then I wouldn't be guessing anymore. One thing I always tell my team, and Pam's been with me a long time, she's in the room right now for everybody listening, I keep referencing her. Sabir knows a little bit, Ray a little bit less. I don't guess.
There's a lot of data out there.
Everyone's like, the Musical.ly thing, right? I got a lot of internet love over the last week. I deserve it. 2015 was early,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like 2014 when it started. Like it was already somewhere. I don't guess. There's a million things that people can go from 0 to 1 million in selling because it's happening right now, but 99.9% of us don't know. Maybe it's hair gel made out of avocados. Maybe it's a trend that men are about to really shave and that the beard movement is now 9 years in and it's kind of a little tired and we're about to go clean shaven. Grunge was followed by Friends. Just so everybody knows in culture, grunge was followed by Friends. So guys went from wearing long hair and all that to wearing the Chandler and Ross haircut, more similar to what Ray's wearing right now, like real clean, right? So like just be an inch earlier because you went and ate shit, AKA did research. Painful research. Do you know why I'm doing all this stuff in urban sneakers? hip hop artists, right? Taking all these selfies with artists you never heard of. And then 2 years later, like, wait a minute, right?
I saw you on No Jumper the other day.
Right. Why the fuck did I go on No Jumper? Because I know how that's going to play out. Like, he's putting on artists that are going to be the biggest artists in the world 3 years from now. I knew the Migos were going to be big fucking 2 years before it happened. I wasn't guessing.
Gary, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on. You guys are awesome to work with. I love working with Sabir, Pam. You guys are a great company.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Sabir. Bye, guys. I love you. See ya.
Thank you for listening to Hacking the Holidays podcast. We love all of our listeners and we'd like to hear your feedback. Please post your reviews, rating on iTunes, Google Play Store, Stitcher, or wherever you download your podcasts. Hit the like button. Encourage us to do more of this type of programming. Share with us your favorite hacks in the comments section of this podcast. And visit us on the web at VaynerMedia.com/e-commerce. Thanks, Sabir.
Thank you.